31, 32 there was some lean years in the South, especially for people, working people. And at those meals, for him to write a letter back in the 30s and sign his name to it was, in a sense, just about, I would say, some people say signing your death warrant. To stand up for your rights like that. Back in the 30s, you just didn't hardly, colored people just didn't do that in the South. They didn't. And for him to have a nerve enough to write that letter that I looked at, authenticated, and then sign his name to it, about trying to get a union out here at this meal or something that I treasure. You for getting it to me, for enlightening me on it, and for him for doing it for the rest of my life. Really will.
What do you have any hopes? I mean, what do you hope happens when the next generation knows about something like this? What happens?
Well, the next generation of mine, I hope that we can come up with some way to keep this alive for them, that my grandchildren know what their great-great-grandfather did back in the 30s. I really do.
What does that period of time, that 30s, represent for you? What does it represent?
Just the hard times back in the 30s. Back in the 30s during the Roosevelt administration, that's when we was just getting out under the depression. And I guess he put all these acts into law trying to help people. And he was showing the black man that he had just as much right as anybody else to a fair job, as the first salary as anybody else to make a living in this country. And that's why those laws were passed. And I'm saying that's why after they did this, my father didn't think that he was at 6, 7 hours a week. That's 2 weeks in one. Didn't think it was fair, so he decided he'd write a letter to him and find out. So he did, and I appreciate him for doing that.
What if I was to tell you that the Cotton Textile Manufacturers Association were the ones who basically wrote the Cotton Textile Code, that code that your daddy mentioned, under the NRA.
The textile people wrote it.
Yeah. They wrote it for the government.
For the government.
And they didn't include the outside help or the cleaners.
Well, see, they were just putting that law in for the inside mill. Where they wasn't thinking about the people working out in the yard, which was mostly black workers. They worked out on the yard and in the cotton part back there. So they wasn't thinking about them. They were just thinking about the people that were working inside the mill. They didn't care about them. What I'm saying, they didn't care about them, period. So I guess that's why some of them decided that if it was going to be that way, they had a right to write and see what was going to happen. So they wrote a letter and see what their rights being violated, just like they had the same rights that the people inside the mills had. And so they wrote a letter, and I guess he got a response from him for that. So I'm saying that he got some kind of action. Enough of them did it anyway.
I don't think your father wasn't doing something completely alone.
No.
There was other activities going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. Whether he was part of the union or not, he, in a sense, was part of the labor movement.
Labor movement back in the 30s. That's what I'm saying. And that's the big time when the labor movement was moving back in the 30s. Because before then, I don't think we had any laws to govern the labor, did we? I don't remember anything about it back in the 30s.
Any laws governing labor?
Governing labor.
No, those were probably some of the first.
Some of the first.
So, if you could do two things for me. At the end of that letter that your daddy wrote, the one where he did sign his name, could you read it Sincerely yours, Claude Hundley. I think that's what he wrote. Just read that very last.
He said, yours sincerely, Claude Hundley, Gunnersville, Alabama.
Yours sincerely?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
You ready?
Yep.
Yours sincerely, Claude Hundley, Gunnersville, Alabama. My daddy, my name is Claude Hundley Jr.
I want you to do it again, and this time when you finish, look up at me and
Oh,
tell
okay.
me that's my father, and my name is...
Okay. Yours sincerely, Claude Hundley, Gunnersville, Alabama. My father, my name is Claude Hundley Jr., also of Gunnersville, Alabama.
Okay. Now, how about this? Just do me one more favor. When you that'll do it.
Okay.
That's fine. You know what? I think on the last document.
Okay.
After the strike was over, we went back to our jobs, but they wouldn't let us near the mill, held us off with machine guns, colored men. So this was a document written by Claude Hundley Sr., my father.
What do you think?
I think it's wonderful.
You think it's wonderful he was held back with a machine gun?
Now, I think it was wonderful that he wrote what he wrote, but I think this was terrible to hold a man back from his job with a machine gun, because he's trying to figure out a way to work to make a living for his family. I think it's awful. But I thought it was wonderful the way he stood up for his rights back in that time. That's the wonderful part of it.
Well, we're still gonna have to try to figure out what their relationship was to the union.
Yeah, sure is. And I'm trying to figure. I don't even know where you could get no documents to authenticate what what relationship he was with the union. I wish I could help you there. I really do. But from what I can read that letter right there, I don't know whether he participated in the union drive or not. But back in the 30s, I really don't know. If I had my thoughts, I would say he did, but I can't be for sure.
But he wrote that same as about 100 other
people.
Can you say that?
He wrote that same as about 100 other people, so he must have been affiliated with it some kind of way. He must have been with it some kind of way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you? We're done, but is there? And we're gonna do something over your shoulder. But before we finish, before we break from this setup, is there anything else that you'd like to add? I'll just put it down.
Finish.
Is it before we read over your shoulder the letter? Is there anything else you wanna?
Well, all I want to say, I really appreciate you, and for, like I said, for enlightening me on that letter, and then you and your crew coming here doing this document on it about my father, and authenticating that he really wrote it from the letter that you got and from the old Bible that we got from my auntie to authenticate that he really wrote it, and I appreciate that.
We appreciate you.
And I know y'all got a terrible job. I'd hate to have it. Yeah, I would. I stay with what I'm doing.
What are you doing?
Cement. Shoot.
Tell me about what you do.
Well, right now I lay brick, post cement. And I used to be a cub, but right now we putting in drainage system in Gunnersville.
Yeah, can you tell me how long you've lived in Gunnersville, if you've lived here all your life and you never left? And what is the role of what is it? Tell me about that, and then what have you always heard or not heard about unions?
I was raised in Gunnersville. I was born out here in Warrenton, which is Marshall County. And, I was born and raised here in Gunnersville. The only time I left Gunnersville, 2 years I stayed in service. And Gunnersville never been much of a union town. I used to belong to the brick making local out of Decatur years ago. And then I worked for Coca-Cola Company. I joined the union, the Coca-Cola Union, East Union, South Drain. For 3 or 4 years. But I never know Gunnersville to have much union. But after these mills got in, these feed mills over here, I think some of them are unionized. But just for a town, I think Gunnersville is one of the best places I've ever lived. I love the lake. I love the people. We have some wonderful people in Gunnersville. You can have some bad people in any town, but Gunnersville overall is a good town.
And what do you think about the region, the South, and
the South has made some wonderful changes. It's not as bad as it used to be. The South has made some wonderful changes there. You're not gonna never get a Southern man to accept a black man is his equal. That's out of the question. But we get more respect from him now. But you still gonna be a colored man, and he's a white man.
Is he on camera?
I don't care if that is truth. Who's gonna tell you how you ask me how I feel? Because I work with them every day.
And what about the fair day's pay for fair day's work and the notion of unionism or change?
Now, right now, it's not a problem, not for what we work at, because I've been in construction all my life. But in the South. But years ago, I could be working beside them, man. They would always pay him $1.50 more on the hour. Now, when I first started laying brick, I laid brick with them, and some fine bricklayers, and they would always pay them $1 more an hour than the way he did. But now, some of them are a little still on a little higher pay scale in the world, but you're getting it more equal now. It don't bother me. I love it. I love the South, to be honest with you. I do.
Why?
I guess because I was raised in a small town, and right here, and I have a lot of friends here, and I've never traveled too much more than when I was in service, and I don't know much about the other part of the country. So I just I love Gunnersville. I love the South. At least this part of it. I don't know now. I can't tell you about on down further. I've never been that further.
Okay. All right, we're gonna take a picture of the letter over.
Okay, if you could just change that with the book.
Yeah, bring the book over and then put the paper down.
Okay.
Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, open up the book the way you have the book open. You know, when you were trying to show that you were comparing
Comparing their
the
handwriting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then you brought the letter over, and you were sort of just comparing the handwriting onto. She upset?
She's alright, but I mean, she's joking with me, but she's probably upset. She said you're probably not going to use it, but.
Okay.
Okay. Bible anywhere? Or does he just put the family name?
Just family name. Just
But the
Claude.
Hundley must be there.
It's for Hundley.
So maybe we could find the Hundley to the Hundley. It must say Hundley in there somewhere.
Okay. Can you position the paper?
You gonna shoot some photos, Jude?
Just one.
Just one?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that even maybe Mr. Hundley can show it to us in the frame. Hundley's face just a little wider and then keep going on the picture. Okay. Mr. Hundley, before you pointed to it, you were holding it and you said, "This is my daddy." So maybe you could hold it to yourself and look at it.
This is my daddy.
Which one?
This is my daddy.
And his name?
Claude Hundley.
And he's the guy who wrote the letter?
He's the guy who wrote the letter about this Sagatory Mill deal in Guntersville, Alabama.
And who's he with?
Sagatory Mill.
Okay. And who's he sitting with?
He's sitting with
You could take your finger off.
his friend, that's Robert Simpson,
Tilt
his,
it
bro-
up.
his brother Louis Hundley,
I'll start it.
Okay.
Jim Hundley.
Okay. Could you just are these people who worked in the mill and stuff?
Okay, this is
Okay.
Robert Simpson. He worked in the mill. Jim Hundley worked in the mill. Is Louis Hundley, his brother. He didn't work in the mill, and Fred Montgomery worked in the mill.
And that other man with a cigarette?
Fred Montgomery.
And the man with a cigarette?
And my father, Claude Hundley.
Okay.
Can you point to them all again?
Now this is Fred Montgomery worked in the mill. My father, Claude Hundley.
You were using your other hand.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to use the same one.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Robert Simpson. He worked in the mill. Jim Hundley worked in the mill. Louis Hundley didn't work in the mill. My father, Claude Hundley, worked in the mill, and Fred Montgomery worked in the mill.
Now, can you point again to your daddy and say he's the guy who wrote the letter? He wrote it on behalf of these men.
This is my father, the guy who wrote the letter on behalf of these men.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Oh, me? Oh, you tricking me?
Yeah.
I'm thinking what a wonderful person he is to write a letter on behalf of those men. Sure.
Just keep looking for a second. Thanks. Room tone? End tone?
What do you say?
gonna go up here with me with Roosevelt. You might can talk to him, let these people talk to him. You wanna ride with me? Okay, ooh. Well, you don't need it. Well, we need it. Well, we do is clean this mess up, and we're gonna be back here and flag this off for you.
1 second.
Ooh, it's hot.
Back in the day.
I like it.
What?
I love the pursuit.
How come?
I just love it. You know, and, I started just doing this kind of work at 12 years old, and I just like to do it. I couldn't do anything else. Now, not at my age, I wouldn't even think of that. I stay out here 10, 12 hours a day.
See,
We got some good people helping. We got good people.
letter?
He should, because him and my father were good friends, you know, and back in that days, and he's old enough to know, and so they were friends. So I want to ask him anyway.
Could you say, Roosevelt? Could you say, I want to go? I want to show this to Roosevelt Cretcher.
I want to show this to Roosevelt Cretcher and see that he know anything about the strike that they're unionized from the mill. So we'll show it to him and see that he know anything about it. He should. He got good memory. That he's about 80-some years old, so he should remember something about it.
And Roosevelt, use his name. Worked in the mill with your dad?
He worked a little, not very much, because he left. He worked, well, I guess I would say a week or two, and then he left and went to TVA up there where they built that plant up in Tennessee. So he didn't work there. He worked a while, but he didn't work long. Because I know we used to stay with him when they stay in the house at Roosevelt now. You know, my father was close, pretty close.
Well, why don't we go? Let's just show it to him. We'll see what we can find out.
Okay, we'll head up there and find out. I'm ready. Y'all gonna follow me on this, okay? Let's move this thing. Let's move this here out of the way so I'm gonna get pound before we get run over here.
Yeah.
You know, gonna put it out so you can run the front. Yeah, I would. I'd pull that step out and let that front dress it up and we'll have to go. Okay, so I'm gonna run up this dock. You gonna ride with? Rob! Well, I'll be back in a few minutes.
This thing on.
Oh, yeah.
This thing on.
Over just a little this way.
Watch your back, man. Watch your back. Watch your
Oh,
back.
yeah, don't fall off of that. Please, get that, you get that, that'll run you forever. Right. Cause when I went up there, see, I didn't have much of a schooling. I had 2 colored men to train you, and I think I told you all of that, didn't you? That I had to take a 6-week schooling to make the medium wedge.
Yeah.
No, but you worked in the cotton mill some.
You worked a little in cotton.
Oh, yeah,
That's
some.
You want to find out? Did you know anything about when they was trying to get the union in? Anything about these?
I just heard about it, but I wasn't there then. I wasn't working there.
You didn't talk to anybody about what went on?
You know how it was. We both was young and we didn't pay nothing much attention. I didn't. Cause outside, I was on construction work.
Maybe you just want to read him a little bit of the letter and see what it thinks.
If I read you some of the letter, I reckon that would enlighten you any?
They just said we won't pour that in the morning. They don't want to mess with it this evening.
See, this is from the 10th and 22nd of 33 to Mr. Hugh S. Johnson. Dear sir, I am writing you a few lines for instruction. I am a colored employee at Sagatore Victory Mill number 2 in Gunnersville, Alabama, and has been working 28 months as an all-around worker. Was working for $5.75 per week. You remember what y'all got per week back at that time?
That was about what it was.
Got a little raise to $6 per week, and when NRA took effect, I got a raise to $9 per week. And I've been getting $9 per week for 60 and 67 hours per week ever since June the 17th of 33. The 17th to 33, and the way I understand the code, every man, regardless of color, was supposed to get 8 hours per day, minimum with $12 per week. So if I get 8 hours, us colored boys work long hours for 9 per week, and some of the white workers for 7.6 per week, 8 hours per day. Sincerely yours, Claude, Hundley, Gunnersville, Alabama. What he's saying, I'm thinking that, asking you, that they were working long hours for less pay.
Well, yeah, that's right. Well, I think me and her talked that, back then we just had to take what we could get.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I understand that. So, you didn't know anything about the strike?
No, I just heard about it, see, yeah.
Well, can you tell me anything about it? I'd like to get a little more insight on it.
Well, I couldn't say very much about it, because back then it was just squally times, and we didn't have much of a chance at nothing. Couldn't hardly ask for nothing, That's the reason that letters wrote like that, I guess.
Well, he got a response from it, See here?
Yeah.
And then this in here is from Dallas. Him and Dallas wrote a guy.
Yeah, that's right. They was there. I remember when they was there, but I wasn't there.
See right here, what he's saying right here. I had to put these spectacles over. See, after the strike was over, we went back to our job, but they wouldn't let us near the mill. Held us off with machine guns. And he quoted there his colored men. Do you know anything about holding?
No, you see, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about that because I know I was with Tennessee Valley by then. Yeah. And I might have been down here in the Gunnersville Reservoir clearing. That was about the time we was getting this dam built, right after that, you see. It began to start up, you see.
See, and Dallas Moore wrote about the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when they both was there, but see, we just didn't pay one another no attention, we was working.
Well, now this fellow that signed this authentic lady is John Cretcher.
Yeah, that's right.
He used to be a police chief here.
Yeah. I remember when he was I believe, what was he then, a foreman or some
He
kind?
must. I just seen that he witnessed this. He witnessed the document. He got the state right around the seal on.
Yeah. I
Justice,
remember him,
he
yeah.
undoubtedly was the justice of the peace, because it's justice of the peace, and he signed it.
Uh-huh.
And I seen that name last night, and I knew him, but I knew him when he was the police chief. That was years later.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what did he have to do with the bill at that time.
Well, see, I don't know. See, I just like me and I was talking, I really don't know, for when I left it, I just forgot about it.
So you never heard about this big general textile strike when all the cotton mill workers went out?
I heard about it, but you know, I know that I didn't care nothing about it much, so I didn't like the way I was working. I didn't work that long, maybe, I don't know, couple of 3 months or something like that. Because I couldn't stand that moist in that place. Interfere with my breath, you know. You know, have you ever been in a cotton mill? There's moist and sprinklers that keeps that thread and everything soft. Why that for weeds good, you know. Can't raise no windows, nothing. Ain't not one of y'all never been in a cotton mill, is it? Well, it's a pretty hazardous job. That's the reason I wouldn't stay with it. Telling Jimmy, I tell y'all how coming. I had a job offered to me with Tennessee Valley, but I had to wear a respirator. We was around a plant where they made, the dust, coal was like powder, and you had to wear a respirator all the time, and I wouldn't even take that job. I tried it a day or two, but I wouldn't take it. That's the reason I believe living as long as it is. I wouldn't take nothing I thought was against my health. You see into that,
You're
don't you?
pretty smart.
Oh, that's right. That's the reason of that. But I'm.
Now I know. What do you? I know that. Is there anything else that you want to ask Mr. Cretcher?
I would really like to know how was the race relations out there doing that? How did they treat you employees out there doing that at that time?
Well, it is a sort of relationship. It's sort of rough then, you know. You just had to get it. That was all. Y'all can realize about how it was. Like, we hadn't got this old spirit of slavery out of some of us, you know. See, my granddaddy was a slave, and they had the advantage of all of us, but most all them folks dead now, ain't they? Yeah. I ever won that. Dr. Katz, you know, and that other man was the man that started that cotton mill. Is his name on there? No.
I guess that's what's so interesting about that letter, huh? I mean, about the spirit of slavery.
Slavery.
What would you say about that?
I don't have anything to say about that. I just done forgot what I did know.
What you did?
See,
what do you think about a man that would write a letter like that back in the 33?
Well, that gets me only to just...
And signed his name to it. That's one thing I'd like to know.
I just don't know. It's just a puzzle to me. I think when I told her that night, I just don't know why. I was a lot younger, you know, and I just didn't pay no attention to it much. I know that I was getting mine. I know that I could get plenty of work to do anyhow. But I was hired to that Victor Mill, Saratoga Victor Mill.
Well, I was just thinking, since you was, I really respect him for that, but I was just wondering, what did you think about him writing a letter back in the 30s, signing his name about his rights? Because what he's telling people there about his rights are being violated, and he's not only speaking for the black people. If I read the last paragraph of this right, he's speaking to some white workers too.
Yeah. Well, it is that way. It's that way in most any place, you know, but it ain't hardly that way now, but it was back then.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes. I don't understand that, and I know you don't.
But,
Why that? Why it was road?
well, I don't either. But what I'm saying that mill was doing something to the workers that wasn't satisfactory to, that he thought his rights was being violated. So
Yeah.
he was writing a letter to see what this NRA law that they had put out would come into effect. Was they abiding by that law?
Yeah.
And so he was asking for, I'm pretty sure, asking for information about this thing.
Yeah. And when he wrote this, who was he writing it to?
He wrote it to Mr. Hugh H. Johnston.
Why was he at?
Let me see, can I find it? Come on. This is I'm trying to, he don't give me a sentence, so I'm going to say it was in Washington. See, I'm going to say that's where that law was enacted at in Washington. That was during President Roosevelt's administration, just when he took office.
Just that take office, that's right.
So I'm saying that's why he was writing, getting information about. See, what he's saying here, Rosie, that you didn't work with. See, he's saying that they were working 7 hours a week for $12, and the law said they're supposed to work 8 hours a day, and the white workers are doing that. Some of them weren't. I don't know whether it was outside people worked in the yard or what.
Yeah.
But so he's writing to get information about that.
Yeah.
What specific, what the law specified about it, what I think.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking he was pretty great to write that letter back in this period of time.
Well, that is something
And
to think
then sign
about,
your
ain't
name
it?
to it, in
Yeah.
the South especially.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking you, maybe you could enlighten us a little bit.
And this is who wrote it right there.
That's who he wrote it
Wrote
to.
it to,
Mr.
yeah.
Hugh S. Johnson.
Yeah.
See, then he got to respond. He got 3 or 4 names here. See, this is from the cotton textile industry. See, complaints of violation of code of fair competition for the cotton textile trade industry, and this is the reply he got. No, this is what he's
This was
after the strike, and see, this, I guess this is where it was the justice of the peace. That's why I was asking about John Cretcher. See, he witnessed this thing right here.
Yeah.
And he said when they had machine guns on, wouldn't let them go back to their job. And see, he stated right there, colored man.
Yeah. Well,
And then this is one from him,
Yeah.
and then Dallas Moore wrote one.
Yeah.
See right there.
well, see, now,
See, they was
that's-
together.
I
They worked
wasn't.
together.
I wasn't even with them then, and I didn't know nothing about them. I don't know where. I might not have been even living right here at that time. I just forgot it when I got another job because I couldn't stay in there.
Then this here's a reply from his. See, this is Robert E. Bruce, the chairman of the Cotton Textile National Industrial Relations Board. That's a reply he got from this letter he sent. And then this is Mr. Robert E. Bruce, the chairman, and George L. Berry, B.F. Greer. They must be the board members.
Yeah.
So it must have had a little weight to it because he got a good reply for it.
Surely did.
Wow. Back then, you don't think that? I mean, that's what's so curious about
Like
this.
this letter, that's what I
Yeah.
See, they
That's
said
right.
they wouldn't let him in. And
That's
then,
right. That's right. That's right.
and you're saying that back then, if they had a union, they'd work you on the job, but they wouldn't let you in the local.
That's right. You just had to take what they give
they
you,
give
you know, yeah.
So that's what he was writing that letter about, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you're thinking that maybe he belonged to this local union. It just, I mean, because he signed it along with like all the other white people.
That's right, he signed, that's what I'm saying, he signed that document.
Lord, Junior, that's been the time, ain't it?
Yeah, that's been Get that memory walking back there and think back a little bit.
Oh, you know, I done got too old to think back now. I'm 86. That's right. I've been there, you know, the 3 oldest men, your dad-in-law and me and Boyd Martin, William. We're the only 3 that's up in there. Well, Leroy Montgomery, he left here, you know. I don't know why.
But that mill, it eventually hit went union, didn't it?
See, I couldn't say that for
okay,
sure and
okay.
mean it on the count of when it disappeared and everything, I don't think I was even in Gunnersville. I could have been up in Tennessee, you know. I stayed up in that 10 years.
But the thing that's been so interesting to us and why we even came here was just because it seems like Claude and Dallas might have been members of the union.
Oh, the union, that's what I'm
Oh, yes.
So,
They might have been, you see.
Might have been what?
Might have been in the union. I said they could have, but I didn't know it. I don't know.
well, if they worked at it, you know, what they're saying right here, when they went back to the job, undoubtedly, did they have a union when they went back to it? And they held them out with guns, with a
Well, you see,
machine.
that's what I don't know about. I couldn't understand it. I don't know when it was that way, because I wasn't concerned about it.
Well,